Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dheere Nashtu Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 13, further talks between King Rahugana and Jad Bharat. Text number 15 onwards. Manasvino nirjit digga gajendran mameti sarve bhuvi baddha vera vridhe shayiran tu tat brajanti yanyast dando gatavero abhiyati. There were and are many political and social heroes who have conquered enemies of equal power. Yet, due to their ignorance and believing that the land is theirs, they fight one another and lay down their lives in battle. They are not able to take up the spiritual path accepted by those in the renounced order. Although they are big heroes and political leaders, they cannot take to the path of spiritual realization. So, in this path of material forest that the living entity is on his path, or we're supposed to do 15 or 14? Yeah, 15, I guess. Yeah. So, so many people have done so many things, and then they lay down their lives, and people are that they're idols everywhere, statues everywhere, and then they simply adore it. Oh, yes, 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 they were so wonderful heroes. But where are they now? They didn't take up devotion service so they could go back. Okay, they did wonderful activities in their lifetimes, but not spiritual progress. Big political leaders might be able to conquer equally powerful political enemies, but unfortunately, they cannot subdue their strong senses, the enemies that always accompany them. Not being able to conquer these nearby enemies, they simply try to conquer other enemies, and ultimately they die in the struggle for existence. They do not take to the path of spiritual realization or become sannyasis. Sometimes these big leaders take up the guise of a sannyasi and call themselves Mahatmas, but their only business is conquering their political enemies. Because they spoil their lives with the illusion of this is my land and my family, they cannot progress spiritually and attain liberation from the clutches of Maya. And this is what happens to all the so-called big political and military leaders. Ultimately, they cannot control their strong senses. They cannot subdue their senses, and they fall victim to their senses. So that is why this varnashram system is so perfectly created by Krishna. That towards the end, at the end, 50 years to take mantras, then after 75 years take sannyas, get out. Try to make progress spiritually. So the next life, you start preparing for next life. Either don't take birth at all, or even if one has to take birth, make sure you have made enough progress to take birth in the family of devotees. प्रसज्यते क्वापि लता भुजाश्रयस् तदाश्रया व्यक्तपद विजस्पृह क्वचित् कदाचित् धरिचक्र तत्सृन सख्यं विदत्ते बग्गं गृधः बक्कंक गृध्रः. Sometimes a living entity in the forest of material existence takes shelter of the creepers and desires to hear the chirping of the birds in those creepers. Being afraid of roaring lions in the forest, he makes friends with cranes, herons, and vultures. In the forest of the material world, there are many animals and birds, trees and creepers. Sometimes a living entity wants to take shelter of the creepers. In other words, he wants to be happy by being embraced by the creeper-like arms of his wife. Within the creeper, there are many chirping birds. This indicates that he wants to satisfy himself by hearing the sweet voice of his wife. In old age, however, he becomes afraid of imminent death, which is compared to a roaring lion. To save himself from the lion's attack, he takes shelter of some bogus swamis, yogis, incarnations, pretenders, and cheaters. Being misled by the illusory energy in this way, he spoils his life. It is said, Harim vina mritim na taranti. No one can be saved from the imminent danger of death without taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Hari indicates the lion as well as the Supreme Lord. To be saved from the hands of Hari, the lion of death, one must take shelter of the Supreme Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People with poor fund of knowledge take shelter of non-devotee cheaters and pretenders in order to be saved from the clutches of death. In the forest of material world, the living entity first of all wants to be very happy by taking shelter of the creeper-like arms of his wife and hearing her sweet voice. Later, he sometimes takes shelter of so-called gurus and sadhus who are like crane, herons, and vultures. Thus he is cheated both ways by not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Very nicely explained, nicely said by Jad Bharat and explained by Prabhupada. That so the living entity in the material forest, what all things he does, and then when the lion roars, means that death is near, and he still wants to take shelter of crane and vultures and all these cheating sadhus and so-called gurus. It does not help. One has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the only way possible. Or through a bona fide guru. But then again, I mean, why everybody does not take shelter of a bona fide guru? Why everybody who came in contact with Prabhupada did not take shelter of Prabhupada? Okay, we say maybe next life they will. Yes, true. But why not at that point when they came in contact with Prabhupada? Because first of all, their agyat sukriti, the sukriti is not up to that level. Or since they have the independence, even if they came in contact with Prabhupada, they left because they just wanted to utilize the independence. The desires were too strong, other desires. So similarly, those people, and they're, like Prabhupada said, 99.9% of people who don't come to pure devotion service, and out of that, so many don't even want to go to any sadhu or any guru, any swami. So those who go to other gurus, so-called gurus or swamis, who don't even take them to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the path of devotion service, maybe their sukriti is not up to that level yet. So that is when the preachers and the Sankirtan devotees, they come in. So they create the sukriti for all these people, for all the work of Sri Prabhupada. So that is why the preachers and the Sankirtan devotees, especially in this day and age when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan has to be spread all over the world. So those devotees who are actively participating in spreading this mission far and wide. They're very, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very dear to Srila Prabhupada. Because they are the ones who are going out, risking their lives and taking all sorts of issue problems or whatever happens, but they're still out there preaching and distributing books or whichever way they're trying to bring all these people who have not taken shelter, who have not come on the process of bhakti, trying to bring them somehow or other by letting them get some very important process. Tervanchito hansukulam samavishan narochayam shilam upaiti vanaram tajjatis rasen sunir vritendriyaha parasparod vikshna vismritavadhi. Being cheated by them, the living entity in the forest of the material world tries to give up the association of these so-called yogis, swamis, and incarnations and come to the association of real devotees. But due to misfortune, he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master or advanced devotees. Therefore, he gives up their company and again returns to the association of monkeys who are simply interested in sense gratification and women. He derives satisfaction by associating with sense gratifiers and enjoying sex and intoxication. In this way, he spoils his life simply by indulging in sex and intoxication. Looking into the faces of other sense gratifiers, he becomes forgetful and thus approaches death. Sometimes a foolish person becomes disgusted with bad association and comes to the association of devotees and Brahmins and takes initiation from his spiritual master. As advised by the spiritual master, he tries to follow the regulative principles. But due to misfortune, he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master. He therefore gives up the company of devotees and goes to associate with simian people who are simply interested in sex and intoxication. So simian people means monkey-like. Because it's, first of all, it's not very easy, not at all easy, to remain in the association of devotees and follow all the principles. Those who are so-called spiritualists are compared to monkeys. Outwardly, monkeys sometimes resemble sadhus because they live naked in the forest and pick fruits. But their only desire is to keep many female monkeys and enjoy sex life. Sometimes so-called spiritualists seeking a spiritual life come to associate with Krishna-conscious devotees, but they cannot execute the regulative principles or follow the path of spiritual life. Consequently, they leave the association of devotees and go to associate with sense gratifiers, who are compared to monkeys. Again, they revive their sex and intoxication, and looking at one another's faces, they are thus satisfied. In this way, they pass their lives up to the point of death. So yes, it's not that easy. People say bhakti is easy. Bhakti is seemingly easy, but to make progress in bhakti is very, very difficult. To follow the principles, to do the services, to appreciate the association of devotees, to carry on with one's devotional activities seriously, sincerely, and to make progress, to not commit offenses. It's very, very difficult. That is why Prabhupada said at one place that one who comes to Krishna consciousness is very fortunate. but one who's, let me remember it correctly, uh, one who does not come is unfortunate, and one who comes and leaves is most unfortunate. But then he also said, if some person comes in the association of devotees and takes up the process, and if he leaves, 50% of the fault bill is with him and 50% is with the management. Because Prabhupada used to be very sad if somebody would leave. And similarly, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would be very, very sad if somebody comes and leaves. Because Prabhupada used to say when Bhakti Siddhanta, it takes gallons of blood to make a person devotee. It takes so much of effort, so much of time to convince somebody to take up seriously the path of devotion service. And then when he leaves, it's very unfortunate. And their main point would be that we didn't take care of the devotee properly. So that is why one has to really treasure the association of devotees and the devotees who have somehow or other come in contact with the movement, with the association of come in contact with the devotees, and who have shown a little spark to take up and taken up devotion service. What to speak of devotees who make serious commitments and take up initiation or take up some services here or there, and who are seriously progressing. So this is actually the duty of every single devotee, to take care of each other, take care of the newcomers, and it should be just like a family, very loving, caring family. Just like in a family, if a family of brothers and sisters, if some brother is upset and he leaves the family, the whole family would try to bring him back. The whole family would try. And they'll say, okay, we'll give you many concessions, but you just stay back, stay with us, don't go away. But somehow in the devotional circles, we just take it for granted, or just we just worry about ourselves, and we are really very happy to judge others and saying, oh, he is in Maya or she is in Maya, and they have gone, as if we have become transcendentalists. We are pretty much totally in Maya, actually. So it's very easy to let somebody go and to put a tag on him or her. It's very easy. But is Krishna going to be pleased with us if we do that? Is Prabhupada going to be happy? No. And if they are not happy, then where are we going to get the mercy? How we are going to get the mercy? And devotee or a Vaishnava, one of the foremost qualities he has is karunika, compassion. Compassion not just to bring in new and new devotees, compassion towards the devotees who are already here. Maintenance of devotees is the most difficult thing. It's easy asking them or making them join, convincing them to join, and it's very easy to kick them out. Very, very easy. It will hardly take a minute, less than a minute to kick anybody out. But it's the most difficult part, most difficult to convince them to stay. And the most difficult service is what, if we do it, pleases Krishna the most. It pleases Prabhupada the most. So when we please Acharyas or Krishna like that, then they give us their mercy. And if we think, like Shashwati Mataji was saying, chanting is very bad and can't concentrate, and it happens with everybody, Mata. It's nothing new, but obviously we have to try not to. This thing should not happen. So there are many techniques. I just spend the rest of the class on that. So many techniques. I know you're a householder, you have to take care of the family, little girl is there, and the job, everything within all that juggling, and you have to manage your chanting. But still, if you can separate out time, I know you might not be able to do all the 16 rounds in one go. Not practical, then just separate out some time in the morning, some in the evening, and just sit down with your beats and try to say it loudly, clearly, and hear it. Try to hear it. Forget about emotions right now. Forget about that. Love is not there. Attentive hearing right now. Just that's it. And what I used to do, also I have done that. There's a Prabhupada Japa recording, which is little faster than, and it's called Sit Properly tape also. So it's little faster, which Prabhupada really used for his chanting, his rounds. So I would just play it on my iPod and put on the headphones and try to. It was difficult to keep up with the pace of Prabhupada, but still I would try to. But at the same time, keep the volume low. I would try to chant and listen to my chanting, but Prabhupada tape would be there. So what it did was, it would make me feel that Prabhupada is there. I'm sitting with Prabhupada. And when you're sitting with Prabhupada and chanting, chances are your mind will not go here and there. Chances are you'll try to focus on your chanting. And that recording is for about 36 minutes or so. So let's see how many rounds you can cover in those 36 minutes. And then again, replay the tape whenever you can. So it really helps in improving the chanting. And there are many other techniques. Devotees use different techniques. So we have to try. We have to try first ourselves, remain in the association of devotees and remain in the process of Krishna consciousness, and then to help others also who may have come and left, or may have come and now they're taking it easy and not as serious as they were earlier. And also we have to preach to the new people also who haven't taken it up yet. So it's all our duties. This is our service to Krishna, our service to Srila Prabhupada. So please do that. Please do that. So I know in Soprast area you have many, many devotees who are serious, sincere, and maybe some of them came earlier and were not doing it now. You just give them association. No judging, nothing. No judging at all. Just plain, simple association. So I guess I can stop here and see anybody has any question or comment.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Nand.
It's always
I was very-
motivating when you say na, but काश आप हमेशा ऐसे बोलते प्रभुजी 24 घंटे डंडे मारते. But yes, we have to actually take out time and do our chanting.
Yeah, and try it with that recording of Prabhupada.
So Prabhuji, it's an app or something?
No, it's not an app. It's just a recording online. You can see on YouTube also. It should be there.
Okay, Prabhuji.
You can download it.
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll do that, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
After seeing you after so many days, I'm very happy.
Same here.
Yes, sir. Prabhuji. Krishna brought me back.
I'm glad you're back. Any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Mata Dandavat.
Yes, Prabhuji, the one which you shared, I have been practicing since long with Srila Prabhupada's chanting. There is one chanting in YouTube. It's like fast chanting by Srila Prabhupada. Like he completes 16 rounds in 1 hour, for almost 1 hour 40 minutes. So it has really helped me a lot. I can't explain because whenever I feel that 16 round completing is very difficult, I just use my earplug and then I try to, chant with Srila Prabhupada. And then I have shared to many of my, friends also like that. It really motivates and it makes me feel a little easy also. So it's really practical actually. Very good. I thought of sharing.
Yeah, and secondly, you feel Prabhupada is sitting there chanting.
Yes,
You better
yes,
be,
Prabhuji.
you
Yes.
better be careful also, attentive.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata.
Kalagya
Thank you, thank you,
Question?
everybody. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.